Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tom, what is your favorite arena food?
Ooh, that is a great question. My favorite arena food has to be, well, all right, arena, you're making the arena stipulation, not like a baseball stadium.
I think pro sports venue, or even for that matter, college sports venue, place where sports is prominently played.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Italian sausage with peppers and onions.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that like do we think of that as a staple?
No, at baseball games, I used to go to Red Sox games, and they had famous Fenway Franks is how they called them.
Yeah, but Fenway Franks are terrible. They were always regarded as the other end of the spectrum from Dodger dogs.
Right. And so Fenway Franks was really, I didn't know any better. I just assumed that like this it's a boiled piece of it's this gelatinous, it's not meaty, there's no flavor, it just is, it's kind of oily, not good. So then one day I just realized like, I'm gonna go try the Italian sausage with fried onions and peppers, and it changed my world. So on a baseball game, I always go for the Italian sausage when other people are going with the hot dog, and I'm not one who does the ketchup on the hot dog. That's criminal.
That's kind of a football fan. Do you live in a rail yard?
There is a railroad right behind my house. I don't know if you knew this.
No, I did not know this.
Yeah, so it makes it problematic when I'm doing like a live TV hit or whatever it is, and there's so I usually say it's a hot take alert. So my hot take here, I guess, is that if you put ketchup on your hot dog, you might as well just not be around me anymore. I'm not a fan of the ketchup on the hot dog.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
What about you? What is your arena food?
I'm boring. I'm with you. A Polish sausage, Polish sausage or Dodger dog, or I'm not a big eater at the arena or the. I don't even eat in the press room, Tom, as you know.
Yes. Well, I am excited to get into this episode, Kevin, because this, I think, had the most drama of all the episodes, and it had the basketball. We had Coach Cal. We had some taunting. We had some, I guess, I don't know, some gamesmanship, some drama there, and I can't wait to dive in here.
Yeah, I mean, and also I think it's interesting. We're now at the point of the competition where I think you could arguably say this is the first week where a decent dish went home. And there's that moment in the season where, because A, the quality of the chefs are really good, B, the numbers are dwindling, where you now start to get to the, hey, all these dishes were great. We're now looking at the difference between sort of risk and playing it safe, or small errors that can send you home. So I kind of like that moment in the season. As much as I love the free-for-all and the battle royales of having 12, 13 people, like, we're now officially at the point where really good chefs are going home for pretty good dishes. And I think that's always interesting. So we started with a bouillon quickfire
cube
challenge. Tom.
Yeah, bouillon cube. You know what? I am a total noob when it comes to the bouillon cube. I don't think I meant to rhyme there, but I don't know if I've ever had a bouillon cube.
No, I it's funny. I keep them around in my, like, really with my spices and my spice rack, and it's just an efficient way if you're not going to use it's almost imagine like chicken salt, if such a thing existed, right? Or it's a salt bomb, but it's also generally kind of crystallized with a beef stock or a vegetable stock or a chicken stock. So like one of the things I always like, if you want to give your rice a little more flavor, if you're just doing a basic boiled rice on the stovetop. Like I used to throw in like a bouillon cube with the boiling water, so just to give it like a little chicken or beef flavor, and essentially salt as well. So that was it. But hey, it's cute because it's Kentucky and there's Fort Knox, and Fort Knox has gold and gold bouillons and bouillons in the kitchen. And so therein lies the origin of a quickfire challenge. But at the end of the day, it was like, hey, cook something and use this. You don't use salt. You have to use the bouillon cube. And that's also a tricky thing, as I think one of the chefs mentioned, that you just don't know how salty it's going to be, so it could really screw you up. It's not like you know how to measure a dash of salt or a teaspoon or tablespoon of salt. So therein lies sort of the sand trap in the challenge. And we got 7 dishes. And do you want to talk about Ed Lee? Ed Lee was sort of was the celebrity guest judge this week. A Louisville classic. I think you're very familiar with his work.
Yeah, Edward Lee from 610 Magnolia in Louisville, a really nice restaurant, a small restaurant there in Louisville. I've been there once, I think like 6 or 7 years ago. Delicious, a really nice meal. I haven't eaten at his other restaurants, but I know that one is fantastic. So if you're in Louisville, Kentucky, it's right there in the city. Just go to 610 Magnolia, one of the best restaurants you can hit. And it was, I thought he was a really good judge here. I thought he had a nice little charm. I thought he was he has the experience of being on Top Chef, so he can give a little bit of insight there too. And I think the bouillon cube, the whole theme of it was interesting, right? Like, you're going to use this cube to season, and it's the only seasoning you can have. But I kind of like the little gimmick of doing the little trivia, like escape room almost, to unlock the Fort Knox. And I was wondering if you were instantly knowing the answers to those trivia questions.
I did not. It took me a while to get the clams.
Yeah, me too.
The clams, I found myself kind of paralyzed there. Tom, I've been told I'm a natural for escape room recreational activity. I don't really know what an escape room is, to be honest with you. I know it's this thing, and people have told me that I would enjoy it the way people say I should be like a contestant on The Amazing Race or something.
Yes.
And I don't know what that portends about me or whatever.
Well, let me ask you this, Kevin. Are you claustrophobic?
Not particularly. I mean, I don't want to be in close proximity to other people for a long time, but it's not even a space issue.
So do you like working with teams? This is the other thing, is like, are you more of a solitary, I want to solve this riddle, solve this puzzle, or are you cool with 4 people are in a room and the clock is ticking and you have to figure out what the riddle means, and then that gives you a key to the other room to solve that riddle? And it's like Legends of the Hidden Temple, but it's really high level, like mix of trivia, strategy, and just riddles.
All those things appeal to me. I am very into working on teams where those teams are my people.
Yes.
We
need to do an escape room.
Yeah.
At some point together. I think you'd really enjoy
it. Right.
I
think if you and I were working together, we're very different people, but we kind of share some commonalities in terms of linear thinking and all that. Like, I think I would thoroughly enjoy Like if it were Allison, Eric, you and I, that would be a cool escape room too.
Yes, and I think we also know each other's strengths and weaknesses enough to know, hey, Kevin, I can't do this. You go do this, and then I'm going to... See, I feel like it's almost like playing on a basketball team. You kind of have to know the skill sets of your other players and have that rhythm.
KYP, know your personnel.
That's right. And that is actually the opposite, the reverse of PYK. Pack your knives. So this is... this was a really cool quick fire to get back to the competition. I liked the whole aspect of the riddle. I think they did a really good job. I had a little bit of a panic of that they weren't going to solve the riddles, and suddenly we would just have a ruined quick fire. But of course, they could edit that out. And then, yeah, I think again the story of this, Eddie comes through with the story again. The last episode, my theory was, hey, you got to have this narrative that'll kind of fuel you, and he decides like, I want to go with the gold.
Right. It was very nice because he did a caponata, but he used yellow vegetables, kind of golden vegetables, nice delicate poached scallop, preserved lemons, which, by the way, I noticed that Padma mentioned that preserved lemons are a sneaky way to get salt into a dish, and I agree. So our friend Jason Concepcion of Ringer fame brought me as a gift once some preserved lemons from this lovely gourmet shop down the street, and never worked with them before, didn't know, started researching. Like, okay, I need to put these to use, and have found them exactly that. Like, they're a great little kind of salty, sour way into a dish, and so I was very pleased to see the preserved lemons, kind of an obscure item, get some love.
Yeah.
Sarah did well. Another third challenge in a row where Sarah finished at the top. She did this very delicate roasted monkfish, and I was also pleased about one other thing. And Padma made a little funny comment. She used the conversation about MSG. So MSG has been the target of one of the worst smear campaigns in modern culinary history. So East Asians have they've been extracting MSG from like seaweed for decades, forever. And it is an amazing thing. And then somehow in like the late 70s, early 80s, during like the height of moral panics in this country, like the satanic panic and your kid's going to get abducted panic and red dye number 5 panic, like there was a point in this country in like the late 70s or early 80s where people were just freaking about it. The Tylenol thing happens. And MSG became this crazy. You go to Chinese restaurants, no MSG. Meanwhile, MSG is delicious. I have it. I'm going to tell you right now, Tom. You have been to my house and you have consumed MSG for my own dishes. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm outing myself as an MSG user. It is where umami comes from.
Did your parents or did you have friends who were like frown upon you eating MSG? Was this like a thing that people would peer pressure you into not eating MSG?
I did have kind of a Larry David moment, like about 11 or 12 years ago when a group of friends and I went to a Chinese restaurant in Los Angeles, and like as the order's finishing up, we go around, we put in like it was like a 6 or 7 person group. Like we put in like for 10 dishes, and then my friend's like, yeah, and no MSG on anything. And like I didn't want to get into it at the table, but we're at this Chinese restaurant. It's a great place, and it's just like, yes, can you make the food taste 20% worse, please? Yes. Was essentially the request. Because MSG is amazing. And I just want to put that out there. And Padma very cheekily said, hey, we're Asians. We don't care about MSG. Mm-hmm. And so I was just pleased that, because we haven't, I don't think that Top Chef has delved into the MSG issue. But it was a subject of a terrible, terrible moral panic crusade in the late 70s, early 80s. And there is nothing wrong with MSG.
It seems like a propaganda campaign by who stands to benefit
Big
from...
Big Salt, Morton's, or whoever. Big Salt. Because generally speaking, when you buy MSG, you go to a Japanese or an Asian supermarket. It's over there near the salt. It comes in either a box or a little funny bottle. I use the red and white box. I forget the name of the brand, but and I think Big Salt kind of went in on MSG.
I think Morton's might be even a sponsor for Top Chef. So we gotta get to the bottom of that.
A little investigative work here. And then Eric came in once again. Eric, let's tease it. If you're listening to this show, if you stick around for the next like 20 minutes, Chef Eric will be joining us here in our virtual studio.
I'm so excited for that.
Very excited for this. So stay tuned. We're gonna work through this recap and get there. He does a dish I love, which is kind of Chinese eggplant. throws in a hanger steak there. So Eddie, Sarah, and Eric are our top three. By Kelsey and Adrian in the middle, and the two on the bottom were, speaking of salt, chorizo and clams, a dish I think you and I both love, but a little bit too much of a salt bomb. Chorizo, probably from the fridge, was already pre-salted. The bouillon may have gotten away from Justin there. And Michelle does a fried smelt, another dish that I love. Sort of those little fried fish with achiote puree, tarragon aioli, and Chef Ed Lee says that he wants something a little more complex, which is ironic because Michelle is one of the better technical chefs in the competition.
Yeah, another strong showing by Team Kevin here with sweeping the quickfire challenge.
So, what is Eddie's reward, Tom?
Eddie's reward is squirming on the sidelines for the entire elimination challenge and not knowing that he's going to be on camera. He takes the seat. He doesn't have to perform. He doesn't have to cook, which is not immunity, because immunity is just like you have to compete. And I would imagine, Kevin, aside from getting a whole boatload of cash, right? I think this has to be the best possible reward for winning a quickfire, right? These guys are exhausted.
Load management. They're
exhausted. They never sleep. Like, they're always trying to nap, scrape by with a couple snoozes here, a couple snoozes there. And then he can just kick back and watch the show. He's got a front row seat to this competition like a judge, but he doesn't have to judge anybody. This is amazing. I think, Eddie must have felt so relieved, but he still just seemed a little bit like awkward throughout the whole thing, which was great.
Do we think this was a scheduling snafu on the show's part?
Yes, I do think.
Okay,
I thought the same exact thing, that they were like, "Oh, we only have we have 7. What do we do with the extra one?"
A prime number. It's a very hard. Prime numbers are very hard for competitions, because like 9 you can do because 3 teams of 3, but like 7 and 5 are tough. The prime number. Very difficult.
Yes. Yeah. So he gets a seat, and so he actually, just by definition, he gets to move on in the competition. Gets the 2 points for that. He wins the quickfire, so he gets 5 good points for you. He just takes off the half of the episode. He's just kicking up his feet, Kevin.
That's very nice. Again, load management. He gets to gets a DNP rest, and which is important, as you said. It's just it's a grind, and we'll talk with Eric a little bit about just the grind. And so here's the feature. It's a game of 3-on-3, and it's an interesting challenge, right, Tom? Because they're true team challenges, and then there are the challenges that are team. But basically, it's everyone cook their own dish, and we're gonna confine you to 2 groups. And though it's not terribly collaborative, you will be representing a team, and there is a team quality to it. But it's really it's sort of it's like team tennis. Like, it's really 3 individual matchups disguised as a team event. But you have to cook for 150 fans apparently, so it has to be a dish. Even though the judges table is only 5 people, including legendary college basketball coach John Calipari, along with Graham and Ed Lee, and obviously Padma and Tom, you have to cook something that is a volume dish, right? Something that can be prepared for 150 people in 4 hours. So that kind of eliminates the more high-minded dishes that we saw last week in Nashville. But there are no confinements apart from that. Yet everybody, with the exception of maybe Kelsey, interestingly enough, decides to go with like down-home arena food to some extent. Now, Tom, I counted 4 red flags when people started going into Whole Foods and declaring their dishes. You want to see if you can guess any of them?
Oh man, no, I want to hear these. Go.
So obviously so Justin not having his bun, I was a little concerned at the outset, Tom, that it eats a little messy. This is stadium food now. Like, how am I supposed to? I wasn't sure what the format would be and whether or not he might get dinged for making a dish that, albeit was delicious, kind of too difficult to eat. And we see that sometimes in the show where it's just not a practical. It's a practical consideration.
Here's my thing about bread on a burger. I've kind of come around to this idea that's at the end of the day, are buns on a burger just edible gloves?
Well, I'm a carbophobe. So one of the things I like to look for is to go get the burger bowl, which has become very popular in Los Angeles. Some of these concept burger restaurants, say like a local chain like The Counter, which is a popular place, and actually a place that I will, if like there's one in Marina Del Rey, so if I'm ever at the Clippers facility and like need lunch, like I'll run over there and get like a big ass 16-ounce burger sitting on a bed of lettuce with like condiments and cheese,
right?
And whatever.
Right.
So it's actually for the carbophobe in me. I love burgers, but I don't want to consume 210 calories eating bread. Like,
so the red
cares?
flag for you on this for Justin was just, hey, they might not like the idea of a bunless burger.
Right.
I kind of like the editing that he did was like, I got to nail my protein here. And you know what? I couldn't get the right bread that I wanted. So I'm just going to go and try to nail the protein.
Right. And I respect that because too often we see on the show over the years, somebody buys a store-bought thing that isn't very good and gets dinged for it. The second was Kelsey. I was very concerned that dumplings for 150, given the amount of technique that's required, would just be too much. And, you know, it just had all the hallmarks of one of those biting off more than you can chew, going to get you in trouble decisions. Third was Sarah's premixed batter. You saw that coming from a mile away. And there's a long history on this show for them dinging you. And we'll talk about that later because it's a big moment in the show. We'll litigate that in a few minutes. And then finally, I'm sorry it proved to be prescient because Michelle's one of my favorite dishes, braised ribs.
The braise, Kevin, it grinds your gears.
Well, no, I love a braise, but why don't we say
on this show?
Right, not on this show. And this is the thing. If you do not have time to make the best version of this dish, do not go with that item. In other words, so Michelle makes ribs all the time, we're told. Her boyfriend's a huge Golden State Warriors fan.
Yeah.
And they frequently host playoff viewing parties, which I love. It's something I love to do. You know, she cooks for a group and she makes ribs. And she says that when she does them at her house, she slow roasts them. Now, I think it's fair to say that when you're doing ribs, smoking would be kind of the first and most popular and most satisfying thing.
Yep.
But that takes a lot of time and a lot of technique, and smoking's difficult. They have special apparatuses for smoking. Or you go with a slow roast and emphasis on slow. So, like, if you know that, and you're going to say, I'm going to go with, like, a third or fourth or maybe fifth best cooking technique here.
Yep.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Braising, by its very nature, relies on time. Now, what's interesting is she didn't get dinged for them not being tender enough. It was kind of for just being over-steamed, which might have been compensating for the lack of time. If we had Michelle, we could ask her. But it's just like, if you find yourself getting into a dish where, hey, if I have the time, I do it this way. And that doesn't include quick fires, which, you know, obviously have their own restraints. And it's not an elimination challenge. But for an elimination challenge, don't do it. Like, don't do it. I mean, this is Charlie Brown in the football, Tom. This is 16 years of people saying, I'm going to cut a corner or not do it with my preferred technique because I don't have enough time. I'll just do it this way. If you find yourself in that conundrum, you are about to lose.
Yeah, and I feel like the sports thing might have thrown her off, where she thinks, okay, I do this sports dish for the Warriors. I gotta do that, but I can't do it in the time that I have. And here's the thing about ribs. If I'm going to eat a rib, I want a fatty but charred. I want some crust. I want some of that like really tough outside, that bark on the outside, char. And then I want some fatty, juicy meat underneath. That's not this dish. And for all the technique that Michelle has and the thinking, and she just nailed the last week's episode. I was with you. Is like the wet slab of meat. That is not what I'm all about with the ribs. So that's a tough one. You know, she's great with purees and aiolis and sauces. Like, I mean, just do a popcorn shrimp or something. Like anything that, because I again, if someone can point out, and some of our stat gurus out there, you know, when's the last time a braise has ever won or even finished near the top? Like, it just doesn't happen. There's not enough time on this show to master that. And it's just a shame because Michelle just came off. And by the way, there's really a curse this year, Tom, in season 16 here. Like are people losing just the week after kind of the hangover effect?
The hangover effect.
It really is. Like Nene gone. Eddie had a couple bad weeks after he won. Then you have Kelsey was in the bottom after she won. Brian bottomed after he won twice and then got kicked off. It's almost like I'm not rooting for my people to win the episode. I just want them to survive.
Yeah. All right, let's run through the 3 rounds real quickly, and then we're going to bring on our guest. Round 1 was Kelsey representing the blue team with her Kentucky Proud Dumpling versus Adrian's Chicken and Waffles. She did with a bourbon maple syrup and a watermelon rind slaw. And it's actually a split decision. It's a split decision, Tom. I think it goes 3-2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Adrian gets Graham and Ed Lee. And so Kelsey, though, pulls out a win with her Kentucky Pride Dumpling. It is the only win the blue team gets, which launched a conversation offline on scoring between you and me, which we agreed on fundamentally. Round 2 is Sarah's Chicken and Waffle versus Eric's Tamarind Glaze, like chicken drumstick lollipops with an herb confetti, which he wins with a unanimous 5-0 decision. So Sarah's, it's very interesting here. I mean, let's talk about this. This is one of the real inflection points of the season, really. So she goes with Chicken and Waffles. Initially, it's going to be a head-to-head with Adrian, but they end up with a faulty fryer, so she needs a little more time. Doesn't seem to affect the actual dish. And word gets out that she used sort of the prepackaged mix, which includes like flour. And I went online, Tom, and went to the Whole Foods 365 site.
I did the same exact thing. So
good.
I didn't actually get to the bottom. I didn't know exactly which one that she got, but please do enlighten us on what actually is a waffle mix.
All right. So the waffle mix, and she's right. She explains that, look, there are things that no matter where you're going with your mix, you're going to, and I think she has an argument here a little bit. Like, I do think sometimes the store-bought, item is a real cheat, and then some days it's just something that that just helps sort of expedite the process.
It's like Italian seasoning is just like a mix of 3 different seasonings, right? Like, it's not like you're saving a whole lot of time. And for Sarah, her reasoning was, look, it's going to save me some time. And I actually think, Kevin, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I think it kind of saved her maybe because the fryer, she got unfairly docked by the fryer not working. And so maybe this saved her.
Well, all right, so it's wheat flour, buttermilk powder, baking powder, cornstarch, sodium bicarbonate, which is also something in baking soda, organic cane sugar, sea salt, and then baking soda. So rather than put all those things in. So she does bring up a point, which is it's not like she just used that exclusively. She ended up apparently jazzing up the batter, but that, hey, this isn't the equivalent of using a store-bought tortilla for your burrito, right?
Right.
This is not the equivalent of, whatever, and we've seen it on past seasons in my mind is blank, of just going with the pre-made thing. A tomato sauce or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so she does have a point, but word gets out among her opponents that she is, and a little trash talking ensues, Tom.
Word didn't get out, Kevin. There wasn't like this was a slip of the tongue, okay? This wasn't like someone found out through the grapevine. This was Adrian telling directly to Tom and Edward in a kind of, actually, I won't say directly. She went about it just in a backhand way when just so happened that Tom and Edward had asked, did you make this homemade or was it a waffle mix? And she said, oh, I did it homemade, of course. I mean, this is Top Chef, but rumor has it that someone on the other team didn't do it. And then they look up and they're like, wait, we were just with Sarah and she didn't mention that. And they put that in her back pocket. And Kevin, I think here's what happened. This little slip by Adrian does not happen if this was the episode 2 or 3. This happens now, Kevin, because the stakes are high. Like, I think she realizes every one of these chefs are rock solid. They're elite. We are down to the wire here. And if I don't get any advantage that I can carve out for myself, I might be sent home. And if at the end of the day, I find out that Sarah is going to stay and I get sent home because she used waffle mix, I didn't tell anyone about it, that would haunt me. So I totally get what she's thinking.
Yeah, I mean, so you think it was a really deliberate power play. Now, there's a little trash talking that ensues, and in fact, homemade becomes the chant from the white team crowd behind them, sort of taunting Sarah, which actually has a greater emotional impact because, as you know, for people from Kentucky, Rupp Arena is the holiest shrine in the state.
It's a cathedral. Yes.
This is to be, as she said, taunted on the floor of Rupp Arena, bullied essentially, that's harsh. And on the one hand, and we see this kind of in the holding tank as they're about to go back out for the judges' table, you could argue, as those on the white team did, hey, come on, this is just a little trash talk, as they say in the NBA, right? Nothing personal here. It's all within the acceptable boundaries of gamesmanship, Tom. And Sarah's a little more sensitive. And were she not from Kentucky, maybe she wouldn't feel as sensitive. But that there's that she said, hey, this season we don't play that way. And Tom, it did bring up some interesting themes, I think. Tom, this has been a particularly congenial season. There hasn't been a lot of acrimony. We identified Brandon early on as the villain, and it turned out he wasn't even the villain by week 2 or 3. Everybody loves Brandon. He's a great guy. I feel terrible, by the way. I feel terrible for designating him the asshole. But it was interesting because it's been such it's so much so that Brother Luck comes into the competition and they become all tribal and in-groupy about his emergence. And so it was
I can't wait to ask Eric about this because he was fanning the flames with the running around and saying with Justin, homemade. And I wonder, I think Sarah doesn't necessarily have her biggest beef is not with Adrian. I feel like it's the collective group turning on her like that. I think she definitely had a bone to pick with Adrian for letting that slip, right? But I think really that seemed mean, straight up mean, because it had some real deep emotional impact on her being at Rupp Arena. Everyone knew in that room that this was kind of her cathedral, right? This was her big dance, right? And to turn it around over a homemade versus waffle mix, it felt like this was a nightmare. Like she was standing up there when I think Padma, was it Padma who was like, is this like, are you a big Kentucky fan? Is this special for you? And she was crying. She was sobbing, saying, yes, this is like a dream come true. But I don't think she was sobbing in a good way. I think she was sobbing because it rained on her wedding day, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. And but it is interesting because it's we see this a lot in the NBA where guys will trash talk on the floor and fans get really into it and social media will sort of pump it up as an event. And after the game, the media will ask the participating players in the trash talk about it. And the players say, and they sort of deflect, but hey, look, this is what goes on the court of play, right? Like this is not personal. It's what we do. And they're often right. I mean, they're often not just deflecting and trying to make less of it than it actually is. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But they do have a point. Like it is a convention of basketball that there's a lot of trash talk. It's in the spirit of competition. But for Sarah, as you said, it was very personal.
Yeah. I really did feel bad for her, not just because of the taunting, but the taunting on her turf, And it would be one thing if it was the Cardinals, where she doesn't like the Cardinals and she gets it. Look, I'm the enemy because I'm a UK fan and these are U of L fans. But this was like probably this moment where she was dreaming of as soon as she signed up for Top Chef Kentucky that I'm probably going to be at Rupp Arena. There's a good chance I will be at Rupp Arena or doing a basketball UK theme. And it kind of just all fell apart. But I kind of had this moment. I don't know if you felt it too. I was like, wait, what if she doesn't go home? Like, this isn't going to send her home. This isn't a fatal mistake.
Yeah, no, we were going to see. She lost to what was the winning dish by a unanimous 5-0 margin. Eric, and again, I will talk with Eric about the quality of his cooking, but just a guy who is just in his element right now. Tamarind glazed, lollipop style little drumlets, and he Frenched that base where all that tendony stuff often is when you pick up a wing or a drum. He got rid of that, and what it did is it made it easy to eat. Everybody was in love. The tamarind glaze. He just got huge kudos. Comes away, Tom, am I correct? It's his first elimination win. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. We'll go talk more about the dish with him later in the next few minutes. And then the third and decisive, it's 1-1, a best-of-3 series, essentially. Tom, I am just old enough to remember the first round of the NBA playoffs where it used to be 6 teams, not 8, and 3 would play 6 and 4 would play 5 in a best-of-3. And that's what this was like. Michelle representing the blue team with her sweet and sour ribs, as we talked about, her sauce that everybody loved, the peach and Calabrian chili sauce. And she was up against Justin's Juicy Lucy with pimento cheese, mustard barbecue sauce, bourbon onions, duck fat braised pork belly. He had a lot going on there, Tom, and everybody loved it.
Mm-hmm. That one, I think I go with Eric's dish that I would order on a menu, and then I think that would be number 2. I mean, that looks so good. I don't know, a cheesy. I don't know about you, Kevin, but when I was a kid, I actually went with hamburger up until I was like 10 years old, and then I moved over to the cheeseburger. And now when I see like a cheese, there's something to the Juicy Lucy idea of having the cheese inside the beef there that is just so amazing. When you bite in, it just kind of falls out.
And I'm glad to see. I was surprised it's taken us this long to see pimento cheese rear its head. It's become a really popular Southern-themed item, and it's not even a condiment. It's really its own thing, and I love pimento cheese. So that was good. Let's just go through the scoring before we bring Eric on, kind of do our sort of where the competition stands, and then we can have a contained conversation with Chef Eric.
Yeah, so we have the score right now is 123. You have 123. I have 108. You have Michelle just got kicked to the curb. She goes down. She goes to Last Chance Kitchen. So you have 4 chefs alive, and I have 3 chefs alive. Justin has 29. Kelsey has 29. Adrian has 27. So 3 really solid contestants for me. But the number 1 is your guy, Eric. Right now has 40 points.
So he pulled ahead of Eddie.
He did. And Eddie has 33. You also have Sarah at 22, and Michelle, after being eliminated, goes down to 20. But
Hello, listener. It's producer Mays here to talk to you about Kindred. Now close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS. Hello, listener. It's producer Mays here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with a cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
This episode is brought to you by 20th Century Studios' new film, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, starring Golden Globe winner Jeremy Allen White and Academy Award nominee Jeremy Strong. Scott Cooper, the director of the Academy Award-winning movie Crazy Heart, brings you the story of the most pivotal chapter in the life of an icon. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Only in theaters October 24th. Get your tickets now.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Is still alive. Last Chance Kitchen. Super cool, by the way. Did you watch Last Chance Kitchen?
I did watch Last Chance Kitchen.
30-second shot clock. You can only use your knife for 30 seconds, and then you have to hand it over to your counterparts. So David and Michelle, it was an amazing. They did an amazing job. I thought there was no way they're going to get their dishes done, and they did, and they were both really good. So Michelle's still alive, and there's one Last Chance Kitchen round before they're entered back into the competition. Michelle is the leader in the clubhouse. She has to win one more, and then she can come back.
Well, that's interesting because and they revealed that last night, and I was curious because typically the person comes back when it's eliminated to 4, and then they become kind of the fifth wheel again. And this year, that would seem to suggest that it's going to be 1 week earlier than normal. In other words, someone's going to get bounced next week. They are up against Michelle in the final game of the losers bracket, and then go right back in, and we'll be back at 6. So that's an interesting twist. I kind of prefer it because I think Last Chance Kitchen shouldn't give you a full entree back into the final 4. I like that it gives you an entree back into the final 6.
100%.
So
100%.
I actually like this modification. If indeed this, I'm reading this right, you never know what kind of curveball they throw you on Top Chef. Tom, it's just it continues to be a fascinating, confounding season. Just there is no odds-on favorite. We agree that Eric has been the most consistent chef, and I don't even think that's up for interpretation.
I think he's the favorite. I mean, he has brought it. I mean, the last, I'll just read off his point scores: 2, 2, 5, 10, 2, 5, 3, 11.
You notice something there?
Not in the bottom.
Not 1, 0. Not 1, 0. He is just really steady and cooking his best food of the season. Really, actually, I didn't even say that. He's been great from the outset. Kelsey comes in with a really technically, it's funny. I said that she's the sort of the context chef. Like she looks at the event, says, "Hey, what are they actually looking for in spirit?" This is arena food. She goes with a dumpling, which really surprised me. But even though she's on the losing team, Tom, she cooks one of the 3 best dishes. She's a really interesting chef to me right now. Justin's been cooking really well. I mean, other than the salt bomb, chorizo and clams. Which, again, I don't hold a weird quick-fire technicality against a chef as much as I would bombing. He's been really dead on in elimination
last
competition.
4 episodes, he's been in the top 3. Hasn't snagged the win yet, but in the last 4 episodes, he has been in the top 3. Hasn't been in the bottom 3 in the last 5 episodes. So he is just right there, pulling an Eric, just like coasting right at the top. And he's just as strong, I think, as any competitor not named Eric.
Well, and finally, for all her waffles, which by the way, the waffle problem was just it was a little soft, but other than that, she cooked. They said point blank her chicken was better than Adrian's chicken.
Yep.
We're talking about Sarah right now.
Yep.
Chef Sarah. She mopped up the competition last week. In the boat week, she was not only the inspiration for the jiggle juice. She does her shrimp with tarragon on the brioche roll that everybody loved. She has been cooking really well for 3 weeks, and everybody's got a claim on this competition is what I think we're getting at here.
So a couple things here. John Calipari usually owns the room. Whenever you meet the guy or you see him, he is just shaking hands, kissing babies. He's the guy. On this episode, I felt like he might have been a little out of his element, a little fish out of water. His commentary was, "This was very good.
This was great. I don't want to," and he didn't want to bet. He didn't want to. He wanted to please. He didn't want to vote one poor chef over another, which I kind of can relate to. I mean, that's tough. I mean, these people are cooking their asses off, and you have to basically say one of them's the loser, and I'd feel the same way. Shall we go to our guest?
Yes, let's bring on Eric.
We are joined right now by Chef Eric Adjepong.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. And actually, we booked this a couple weeks ago. Availability, and it turns out we get you on your first elimination victory. Which
is it your first, Eric? I feel like
no, it's actually the second at this point. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
He's so good we can't even remember it. He's actually the only multiple winner now, Kevin, left in the competition. It's been such an equal race. I don't know if you were feeling that at the time, Eric, but you won your second elimination challenge in this episode, and we'll get all the way into it. But what an even race it seems this season. So, Kevin, yeah,
that's right. You're oyster with the mignonette. How could I forget?
It's all good. That was the first one. That was at the Stillback Hotel, which was that was a lot of fun, a lot of pressure. I think that was Brothers was back on that episode.
Yeah. Did you know that Brother misinterpreted the challenge? He revealed on this show that he thought you were supposed to compliment the drink, not be inspired by the drink.
Yeah, I listened to that episode, and I could understand why you would think that, but it's interesting because even though we all have the same kind of interpretation from from one person as to what the challenge is, and what you need to adhere to and everything. We need to sign something. It's documented that we signed it. We say I do, and we still kind of come off with like different interpretations. That's just the way our minds work as chefs. So I can totally see it, because there's been plenty of times in the challenge where I was like, oh man, I had no idea that we needed to go in that direction. It just so worked out that the food just so happened to taste good enough.
I mean, if you were preparing sort of a manual for a future contestant, I'm always curious. I mean, what are the hacks? And I ask you because, and I don't say this for flattery. One of my themes on this season's podcast is I don't recall a week or a challenge where you have been kind of nominally any bottom, like even in the bottom half. Like, you've been the most consistent chef at the time of recording here, and like I guess we're now down to 7, and which suggests to me you just kind of have a knack for avoiding the pitfalls, whether it's overcommitting or worrying about or not enough time, or trying to be too cute or not cute enough. And I'm just curious, sort of like, what is sort of the thing they don't put in the manual? Like, what are the hacks for succeeding on this show?
Man, I don't think I've ever been asked that. For me, immediately as soon as I knew that I was going to be casted on and this was actually happening, my mindset went immediately to, all right, you have no idea what you're falling into. You're going straight into the abyss. So what you absolutely can control is yourself, your mind. Like, just focus on, the things that pretty much got you here: your technique, your profile, your palate, and your ability to stay cool under pressure. That's it. If you can just harness that throughout every challenge, and it could be tough. It's tough. Like, it's a difficult thing. I'm not saying that as it's easy, because we all went through it. But I think if you can just really focus on that, hopefully you can, the odds work in your favor.
How hot was it standing on the boat? Man, I felt so bad for you, Eric. Like, it looked like it was 1,000 degrees and everyone was just sweating. It was like, can you get an umbrella on that thing, please?
Man, it was terrible. Like, it was like at that point, it was probably the hottest point of the day too. So we're on top of like the boat at the hottest point of the day. And not even for myself. Like, I remember they did a quick flash to me and I was just like drenched. Right. But Adrian was feeling terrible that day. So I felt so bad for her, because on top of the fact that she was just feeling so ill, she had to just bear all that heat. And I was just like, man, this is not the time for any of this. But that was we had a lot of fun that time, but we cooled off in the pool. Not in the pool, the lake. My bad. Sorry.
We were scared. No, you can curse. It's fine.
Yeah.
I was scared shitless for you when you jumped into the water there. Like, what happened?
Yeah. I put the harness on and like it immediately kind of unbuckled as I was like going through the routine. And again, I've never done this before in my entire life. So I'm you only live once, and I'm actually talking to you guys. So the right side of the coin flipped. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Eric, that stuff looked really revolting.
No, man. You know what? I felt bad for Padma, because I immediately, when I saw her face, kind of when she took it down, I was like, dude, this is not going to work well. But everyone else at the party actually enjoyed it. So we won the party over, which, thank God, that was the challenge. Because if it was up to Padma, that would have probably kind of put us at a down point. But no, we did what we needed to, and that was a lot of fun. That boat party.
That Eric was the dream team for a party boat squad.
Absolutely, yes.
You, Sarah, Kelsey, and Justin, right?
That was it. Yeah, that was the team.
So when you saw Eddie have to choose his team, what went down? Like, we saw what happened on TV, but can you give us any sense of like, was it just he really felt like, I got to pick the people who are around me?
I can't necessarily speak for Eddie, but it was definitely an off-camera conversation, and not to get too deep into it, but he actually talked about it, and they caught it really well. it was a pressure moment, man. You have no idea. Like it's you're scattered brain, and we just finished. We're just off that meat challenge too. So we're just like exhausted, you know. So I was feeling for him, but when it all was like said and done, it's funny. Justin and I looked at each other immediately, and we looked at Sarah and Kelsey, and we're like, dude. I'm not going to front. It was one of those times where I was like, if this is what the challenge is, we got this, because we all do this. Like this is, you know, I throw events off, you know, off site all the time. Kelsey does this all the time. Sarah does this all the time. Justin does this all the time. Like we have the team here, you know, and we weren't picked. So it was kind of like getting 4 first-round draft picks and you were just gifted, you know. Yeah. That was awesome.
I do want to talk about Ghanaian food because I had the pleasure of spending 3 weeks in Ghana, and you know, and of course, like the first moment we put our bags down in Accra, like immediately it was night and we just went out and had our first kind of street food.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't been on the ground like an hour in the country, and I had my first like bowl of red. And so I just want to kind of I wanted to gauge you because like how much of that. All right, so give me your like kind of unified theory of Ghanaian food.
Man, it's what's the best way to put it? It's really just a gem in a greater sea of diamonds in a region just like West African food. Period. Like when you talk about where it is, just in locality, it's located right off the coast. It's just amazing seafood. Off the bat, and the climate just calls for just a bunch of tropical ingredients, very akin to what you would normally find in Brazil. If there's anything that you can kind of parallel off it, not as exotic, but definitely off that path. And the ingredients and just the way that the folks out there cook and put so much feel and thought and tradition into the food it's really amazing. So to kind of harness that and to have that in my back pocket as a young kid was I definitely an advantage to, I think, during the competition, but just throughout my career has been something that I felt has aided well.
Yeah, no, we had a really good time eating. Like it's that thing where you have to kind of pick your starch, and I could never really get behind like foo. I couldn't get behind fufu. Like it was just there. And I'm not somebody who dislikes slimy food. Mm-hmm. So fufu, for those who don't know what it's like, is it like mashed plantains, kind of in a mealy kind of thing?
Yeah.
Basically, you pick your starch so that you can like dip it into the stew that you receive with the starch.
Yes, exactly.
And so like banku is where I ended up.
Exactly.
Like, after like day 4, it was like, all right, banku's my starch. And then like and actually one thing I really discovered that is still kind of a hallmark of my food here is I use a lot of red palm oil. I never even heard of red palm oil until I got to Ghana, and then I came home and I was like, I got to order some of this shit.
It's amazing, right? Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, because it's kind of like ghee, but not. I actually like it more than ghee.
Mm-hmm.
It's buttery, and it gets like some great color.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really unique, and it's something that it's a staple. Because it's so abundant, you know what I mean, in the region and in Ghana specifically. So, yeah, like it's funny you talk about fufu because I remember specifically when I was like from the age of like, I don't know, it was like 6 to 9. That's all I ate like every single day, and then I just stopped eating it. Even though I eat it sparingly. I don't even remember the last time I had it. But I love banku because that's a great call. So. Fufu it's plantain, depending on where you go specifically, but it's plantain and cassava that's been mashed up, and it's steamed. So it's steaming and it's being mashed at the same time. It's a laborious kind of technique, but once it's done, you call it slimy. Sometimes when you're not doing it as well, it can have a very slimy texture. And some actually people prefer that, and it really is about the texture at that point. Banku is a little bit different. It's fermented cornmeal that's been fermented for days, and then they kind of use that same process. So you have that little tang that, if you noticed, when you eat that. So yeah.
You say, Eric, that you love basketball, but really this episode, you must have just flipped when you saw the bouillon cubes because you wrote a thesis
Yeah,
about bouillon? What is that? What was the study that you did?
Yeah. So I know the platform we're on, but as much as a basketball fan, I haven't even thanked you guys. I can't believe I'm talking to Kevin and Ashley Thompson. So thank you guys for having me on. But secondly, if I can
we'll get to basketball. Don't worry.
If I could steal like 2 minutes for you guys just to think about the next thing, that's all I
need.
Well,
we're gonna get to basketball.
Absolutely.
That's the next line of questioning.
My man. All right. So, the second question was sorry, my bad.
The
bouillon.
thesis.
Bouillon. Yeah. So I went to school. I did my master's in international public health nutrition in University of Westminster in London. And I was like, you know what? I want to figure out why the Maggie cube is so like popular. What's the genesis? Where does it actually start from? And you know, the number one thing about public health, at least that I gathered, is it's a long analogy, but if you see like a body kind of floating in the rivers, it's kind of gruesome. When you see a body floating in the river, you're like, dude, that's weird. But if you see a few bodies floating in the river, you don't want to like say it's weird anymore. You actually want to find the source and figure out what's going on. So I wanted to figure out why, you know, hypertension and non-communicable diseases were actually increasing. Diabetes and things like that, and was there any correlation between Maggie cubes and just the way people were eating? So I went to Ghana, and I went to Accra, and I went to Kumasi, where my family is from, to the 2 biggest cities.
I love Kumasi. We'll get to that later. That market in Kumasi is like one of my favorite places in the world.
It's a staple, an absolute staple, not even just in West Africa and Ghana.
Oh, it's unreal.
Yeah. So I went to both cities, and I did a food frequency questionnaire, as well as a couple other, like a bunch of statistical, epidemiological, type of work, a bunch of stat work to kind of figure out if there was any sort of correlation between the Maggie cubes. And I kind of figured out that there was a point in time where Nestle makes a product. They came to West Africa around in the 70s. And really established themselves as a brand. And it changed the ways, it included industrialization, but just changed the way that people ate. So instead of kind of building a stock and, drying out the meat and really grinding it up and kind of making a strong base from that, they were just kind of dumping these cubes and kind of going with it. And it gave you a very similar flavor with eighth of the time, So with that said, people kind of just started ramping up on it, and that obviously increased with the amount of MSG. And this is not a knock on the product either, because
I just did my defense of MSG before you came on.
At all, yeah, because MSG is a
I'm
great
pro
product.
MSG.
I am as well. Yes. It was just kind of my study on how it was almost mindless eating, so to speak. You know what I mean? And how that kind of might. Not to say it is an absolute correlation, but it definitely had some effects to it. So I talked to folks who were as old as 90 and as young as 16, and really figured out that really the time when the generations really started changing the way they cooked was around like the late 80s. And that's when that tide changed, and you really saw the spike in a lot of the things that are killing Ghanaians that weren't killing them before. So it's unfortunate, but it was a cool find, and again, not a knock to MSG at all, and none of the products, because I use Maggie cubes in a pinch. I think the product was great, but
but like the amount of junk.
Yeah, I like the pun you did there, in a pinch. Yeah.
I mean, that's all. Yeah. There's always, like, in the developing world, like the amount of junk food that Nestle is flooding that market with is just kind of startling.
It's rough.
And like when you go, you just see like. But all right, last question. I have not succeeded with my jollof rice to get that gooey texture. Just that moist, like really good jollof rice, which is. I mean, is it fair to say? I mean, this might be blasphemy, but it's like Ghanaian jambalaya, right? Is that fair? Not fair?
No. That's
semi-fair?
That's absolutely fair. I mean, everything has an origin, right? So it definitely comes. We talk about it definitely traces its roots to West Africa. Jambalaya does. That's an absolute fact. So it's not a stretch. I call it the paella of West Africa, and not to say that it's akin to it, but I think it's really to kind of put the emphasis on how important that dish is, to Spain, right? To the paella. And how important jollof rice is to both Ghana and Senegal.
But I can never get that gooeyiness, Eric. Like that sort of moistness. Like, it's not putting enough oil, or is it that easy? But
it is.
That cohesiveness.
Yeah. You're blending. You have to blend in all the vegetables, all your red vegetables, the pepper, onion.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's using enough oil. So I can toss you a recipe. We can talk about it off air.
Oh yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
So let's go into the actual the episode that we just watched. I just criticized you, not criticized, but you were fanning the flames on Sarah with the homemade chants, and then you made Brother Luck feel bad about coming back into the competition. Man. Eric, you're a bully. Eric,
clearly
you're a bully.
I'm a bad guy. No, that's It's so crazy when you think about like the type of space and environment that you're in. We're watching it as like civilians, but we forget that this is a very like unique kind of circumstance where you're depleted from everything and you don't have any kind of like tensions do rise and you do become territorial. It's almost primal at a certain point. But we all had high integrity, which is something that we all left with. So every time that attention might have flared up, we all left. And that's something that I thought that was really cool that they edited in that episode, that we all kind of hugged it off and like, all right, let's move on. And we can't, really harp on this. We got to move on.
You're obviously really passionate about your food. You're very competitive, it seems, but you're just nailing this. It seems like you're tailor-made for this competition, just because you seem focused, you seem even keel, but you enjoy yourself, you have a good time. It seems like you love being a contestant on Top Chef. This is like right up your alley. Was this a dream of yours that you wanted to be on the show? And how many times did you try to get on the show?
Being on Top Chef was definitely something that I would love. Like it was definitely a dream for sure. I tried once, and it was last season. I actually applied for season 15, and went as far as the really deep round into like the casting process. The issue was my wedding day was actually the first day of filming, so there was no way around it. Yeah, it was really choice. I had to, man. I couldn't. So thank God we stayed in touch through the year, and I'm just so happy that I actually landed on this cast. Like this, I'm really, really proud of everybody that's been here. It's really cool to be a part of such a talented group. So I'm definitely proud of season 16.
It's funny. There's no bad guy or bad woman, for that matter, on this. Usually they kind of cast a villain, there's someone that there's bus throwing or like, you know what I mean?
But truly you can only use what we give them. And we truly were cohesive. Like we were cool. We were all really chill.
I've been having this guilt, Eric, because like I kind of casted Brandon that in the first week because there were a couple of there was like some editing where he looked like the know-it-all or whatever, right. And then it turns out that like you guys all love him and everyone thinks he's like, and I kind of not only realized I was wrong, but actually I found him extremely appealing. Yeah. They didn't cast a villain. Eric.
No, you can't. You really can't because there really wasn't. So I think that was really a unique. Thing about season 16 on its own, because like you guys mentioned, there's always you can always kind of pinpoint one, but no, everyone was really chill once you got to understood everybody's personality, and then obviously understood that we're here for a competition, and we all came to an understanding like, okay, we can all live under this house and be cool and cook for each other and crack jokes and but still compete against each other as well.
We ask this to everyone who comes on. How does it feel to watch this? Do you cringe? Kevin and I, we're on TV sometimes, and I don't know about you, Kevin. I can't watch myself. It's just
I don't know that I've ever seen
tough,
other
right?
than
Yeah.
I did rewatch my thing on why Dennis Smith Jr. should have eaten octopus with Phil Jackson. But other than that, like my defense of octopus,
because it was food.
Like,
yeah.
right. Because I did a segment on the Jump about the octopus just being like something no NBA player should be afraid of octopus. It's a delicious dish.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's the only segment of mine I think I've ever watched, Tom, on live television.
Do you do like watching watch parties or anything like that back home, or what is it look like? Eric is watching Top Chef week to week. What does that look like?
So we definitely did a watch party for the first couple of episodes. It was a lot of fun, and it was invite only, so all the friends and family. So my wife was pregnant at the time during everything, so it was just a major shock. The few people that I could really tell and just thank them to for taking care of her and the family and everything while I was away. That was really tough. So invite only. So we did that a couple of times. But honestly, I have a 5-month-old now. So whenever if we're not busting out an event, I'm usually watching with her and watching it with her right next to me. So watching it as a family, watching it with sometimes the other chefs and I get together on like a big FaceTime group chat and watch a couple of minutes of it and then kind of hang up after a while. Yeah, it's cool.
Was being at Rupp Arena cool?
Man. Mind blowing. That was a lot of fun. I think that was overall my favorite challenge. It was just because I'm just, again, I love basketball. I do. So to be
Did you
there
play?
I try to, man, but it's CSI, man. You can't move. This only challenge. So it's like once the challenge is over, like you're on ice and you can't do anything, man. So I really try to just like at least try to get a free throw in or something. But
Did you talk to Coach Cal? Because you said Coach Cal on the show, and I was like, oh wait, he knows Cal Perry. Like he knows hoops. If he calls him Coach Cal, he knows.
Right. It's like first name basis type show, right? No, I didn't. It was brief, actually. He mentioned a couple of things. They edit so much, so there was times where he had a few comments to the dish I made, and I got to reply back, and that was cool. And off camera, it was nice as well, but not too much.
All right, you want to talk some hoop?
I'd love to.
Fire away.
I'd love to.
What do you got for us?
What's that?
What do you have for us?
I'm actually. This is a point where I feel like I could turn the tables and ask you guys a couple of questions.
Yes,
like,
go,
please.
How are you guys wrapping your minds around what's going to happen in New York City for the next 2 to 3 years?
I'm sad. I feel bad for Knicks fans. Like I grew up outside of New York City, and so I have a bunch of Knicks fans who, when the trade happened, it was like someone died. It really like KP was larger than life in New York City. And I know like he didn't get along with Phil Jackson and then the organization turned on him. But my feeling was kind of always like this. If this, superstar talent doesn't want to be in your organization, maybe you should take a good look in the mirror about the organization. You don't come across these 7-3 unicorns a lot in your franchise history. You might not ever get a chance to get Porzingis again. So I kind of feel like if they're spinning it that if he didn't want to be here, then we're going to let him go and we're not going to tie him down and we're not going to force it. We don't want to get embarrassed by giving him a contract and he turns it down. We're going to move on from this. But I just kind of feel like maybe you want to make that guy happy.
Yeah, you do whatever you can.
I think so. You can look at what happened a couple weeks ago in a couple different ways. One is what Tom's talking about. Yeah. You have a real ownership issue. And there are times in the league where, a Dan Gilbert can overcome his Gilbertness and, LeBron comes back and you're just going to win a lot of basketball games and play at the highest level deep into June because you have that guy. Yeah. But it's like, I'm working on a piece right now about another franchise that has like an ownership issue and that is just kind of holding them back. Sure. And it's a big thing. Yeah. And we're not in the room. We don't know to what extent Dolan's incorrigibility or his inability to identify managerial talent that helps a front office build a culture. has, we don't know what percentage of impact, but it's a real problem. Like, again, how do you alienate a happy-go-lucky Latvian unicorn? Like, how do you screw up that? And maybe it's residual from the Phil Jackson era. Now, the upside is they know something we don't.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah.
Right. That's the other thing. And no one knows the origin of this. Tom and I are probably hearing the same chatter. We talk to a lot of the same folks. Whether it's Kyrie's willingness to leave Boston, whether it's Durant and Rich Kleiman, or just have a design on kind of taking over the Knicks essentially. If not nominally, then certainly in spirit. Do they know something we don't? And this is the question that nobody, Tom, I haven't encountered anybody who's got a certain theory of what the hell's going on, but it does suggest certain things.
What if it's just as simple as this, Kevin? They don't think Porzingis is ever going to be the same player.
Well, and that's the other thing, right? Like, the third thing would be medical, right? Yeah. They have had as close a proximity to his recovery as anybody. And they have just determined hey, he could very much be the Porzingis we all knew and loved, but we think the probability of that is 30%, 40%. And I don't know if that's the calculus. Nobody knows. But Tom's right. Like, they have closer proximity and more intel on his medical condition and recovery than any other team. Than Dallas, they have to share with Dallas that information in the negotiations, but they don't, they know things that aren't in that report. And whether it's whatever the insight might be, and that's the other.
So how did your father become a Knicks fan?
Oh man! So when my folks came here from Ghana in the late '80s, my dad really assimilated to everything New York culture. We landed in the Bronx, or they landed in the Bronx, and I was actually born in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx. So we just grew up watching Knicks games. Or I grew up watching Knicks games. So I'm like Starks era, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You hate Reggie Miller, yes.
You know what? I've grown to love Reggie Miller as an announcer now. But yeah, back in the day, man, it was just like it was tough to, man. They just killed us all the time. And the finger roll with Ewing, and it's a very tumultuous. I'm at a loss for words sometimes, because I know going into so many seasons, what we're being told is, okay, this is the direction we're going in, especially this season, actually, and to kind of flip the script, as Tom was alluding to earlier, it was like, dude, like if you have any reason to make someone happy, like, do it. You know what I mean? You're not going to come across as talent. Not to say he's generational. He was probably making his way up there, but his upswing is incredible. He's a unicorn. So I don't know, man. I really hope that the second option you guys brought up, that they have some idea to what maybe we don't know. There's a lot of money on the table to provide some really, really great options next season. So, and we have that first round draft pick. That's number 4, I think, that you guys didn't mention. Excuse me, not a first round, but a potential first round, at least a top 5. We're, I think, right now the worst team in the league. So, if we can kind of shock that, or get a good pick, the future could be bright. But knowing the Knicks, I don't know.
Do you know this stat? This is a crazy stat. Tommy Beer, he's a great follow on Twitter. Has really good numbers, good statistics, and he actually tweeted this out last week. The last Knicks draft pick to sign a multi-year contract with New York. Hold on. The last Knicks draft pick to sign a multi-year contract with New York after his rookie deal was 1994. Charlie Ward, Kevin.
Charlie Ward.
It's been 24 years.
Well, more to the point, Charlie Ward.
Yeah.
Heisman Trophy winner, Charlie Ward.
Right.
Yes, yeah. It's been 24 years, and we're still waiting. We're still, after Kristaps Porzingis got traded, like, that's not good enough to stay. I mean, it's one thing to be bad at drafting. It's another to just alienate these guys, even if they're good, and not want to build a foundation around him. So I feel bad for Knicks fans, man. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I told my wife if we ever win a championship, that probably that's going on my body in some sort of tattoo form.
Okay, what does that tattoo look like? What would you get? I mean, you obviously thought about this. What kind of tattoo?
Yeah, it would have to be the year, obviously, because I've never seen it. So,
would you put Spike Lee's face on it? Like, what does that look like?
You know what? I think whatever it actually happens, the starting five would definitely go there at some point, man. But man, I just hope for it, man. I really push for this organization, but a fish rots from the top, from the head, and I just really hope that, like you guys, I don't know how far Dolan's hand is in this jar, but I just hope that it's we can figure it out at some point.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
It would be fun to have a good team in New York. It'd be good for the league.
Yeah.
Hey, tell us about Pinch and Plate. Like, I'm kind of fascinated with chefs who do non-traditional, like you don't hang a shingle and open a 40-seat restaurant like you do just dinner parties or pop-up or professional events. I mean, what is that process like?
Yeah, we as my wife and I, Janelle, we started this in New York, and it really came off a fluke. It was one of those things that we were dating at the time, and she wanted to essentially just throw a dinner party for her girlfriends. She had a boyfriend that she was dating. He was a chef. Why not? So she did it, but not like unbeknownst to me, I had no idea how far her decorating skills went. She got a home when she lived in DC, and she essentially needed to decorate it. And she did a really great job. So that translated really well to her table decorating skills and, her scapes and everything. So, and just setting the ambiance and really curating the whole event. She does a really awesome job. So I remember turning the corner, I saw the table that she set up, and I was like, man, we both had that eureka moment and thought we could do something with this. So we did set up a website. A few weeks later, it crashed because it kind of got overwhelming. And it was one of those things that we weren't really prepared for, how kind of we just thought it would be cool to do. So you're right, man. I graduated from doing dinner parties to just, smaller ones, to like birthdays and milestone birthdays and wedding receptions and, different events. And, so we've kind of elevated, and with the increasing press and then everything that's been happening, we've been very fortunate to, yeah.
Well, but I have one question though. Like, I'm on your site and you've got like sample menus and you have a whole section that says canapé.
Yeah.
And like, you have like 6 canapés, but none of them is the winning oyster canapé, man. Like, how do you not have your like winning dish? And you have like it's a section called canapé.
It needs to be updated. No, it has to be. Like, that's
you got to do the oyster with the what was the myth called, the off the shore? What was that thing?
9 mile something.
Yeah. Right, like 13 mile, whatever the hell it was. You got to have that, man. You got to have like your winning. If you have a canapé section,
no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. No, I have to update that. That was that was a lot of fun, man. That challenge was. It just worked out. Now I remember specifically because you have to pick like vessels for your canapés, and all the vessels that I wanted were gone. So I was like, dude, what do I do? And I'm like, why don't you just put the vessel in its kind of like organic self and just use an oyster? And it worked out. So man, that was fun.
What about your experience working with Kwame from Top Chef? You helped open Kith and Kin, is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So you've obviously looked up to Brian Voltaggio, another DC guy. What is your experience with Top Chefs, and how many do you come across in your career?
Oh man, with Kwame, so right after it all happened, where I wasn't really going to land on last season. In between that year, I linked up with Kwame and helped open Kith and Kin here in DC. So we, come from the same area. We were both from the Bronx, really very similar stories as far as parallels concerned. And it just kind of linked, and we had a really good brainstorming session and figured that we can really, take a restaurant with that type of cuisine somewhere really far. And he spearheaded all of that and helped him lead the way. With Brian, I actually met Chef Brian a few years back, right before I decided to go and move to London to study for my master's. I had staged at Vault for a few days, and I kind of had a parallel. Do I want to go to continue my education, or do I want to work at this restaurant with a chef that I idolize? And I actually made the decision after a conversation with Chef Brian to go on, and he gave me his blessing, and that was really cool. So it's awesome to know that I have a lot of strong chefs, especially with Top Chef ties here in DC.
Is there like in the NBA when you're in a coaching tree, like the Phil Jackson tree, the Popovich tree, the Van Gundy tree? Is there a Top Chef tree?
There is, but it's interesting. Like, I've met these gentlemen in very unique ways on my own, so through affiliation, I think that I'm a branch of them for sure. Especially through the DC tie, but I think I definitely I've started my own branch. But there's definitely Top Chef lineage that's well known, throughout the seasons.
So wait, is Michael Voltaggio not from DC? Like, aren't they brothers? So
yeah. So Brian and Michael are brothers, and they both come from Maryland. Yeah.
Okay. But you were you knew Brian before you went off to London, and then Kwame was in last season as the Last Chance Kitchen. I forgot about that. Kevin, remember we had to do that draft where it was like, do we pick Kwame, or where do we pick these people?
Right, the Last Chance Kitchen question.
Yes.
It's but I'd love to sample his food sometime, as I would love to sample your food sometime. That would be
yeah, man. Next time you guys are that'd be awesome.
If the Wizards match up, if the Wizards somehow qualify for the playoffs, which is looking increasingly unlikely, if they match up with the Toronto Raptors, you will be getting an email from me.
Awesome. I will take you up on that offer, sir. Absolutely, Kevin.
That would be a blast.
That would be fun.
I might even request some kitchen time. Because actually, the truth of the matter is, I'd love to dine, but I also would love to learn.
I would be.
That's kind of the privilege.
Yeah, man, and we can definitely do that and do a step by step. I mean, obviously the recipes are great, but you have to kind of learn it to feel it and really see it. So yeah, that'd be fun.
Just as long as you make him some jiggle juice.
Agreed.
I want to see a picture, Kevin, if you're going to DC, of you taking a shot of jiggle juice. That'd be amazing. Any more questions for us? Anything we've gotten wrong if you've listened to this show? Anything that you're like listening to and you're like, you know what? Like, I think they missed this.
Jeez. It's interesting.
Or maybe generally the viewers don't get to see that. You're like, man, I wish that the fans out there knew this.
There's so much more to, I mean, really, it plays for an hour, but it's a 47 minute episode. And these days are usually, I think when you guys had Brian and Justin on, they alluded to these days are 14, 18-hour days, so there's so much that becomes nuanced that gets lost. And, that's the interesting part in how they kind of chop it up and present it to everybody. But they do an excellent job at it, so it's really interesting to kind of see as myself as a viewer, and because of everything that actually that they played actually happened, it's just interesting to know. But it's so hard to kind of relay that message to actually how it happened as well, if you weren't there. So it's just a weird experience, man. There's no way I can explain it. It's just a very interesting but remarkable experience, man. Yeah.
Well, you have 40 points in our scoring system right now. You are the leader in the clubhouse. They got Eddie at 33 points, Justin at 29, Kelsey at 29, Adrian 27, and Sarah at 22. I don't want to ask you any questions about what happens going forward, but you are so far the top point getter. So congratulations in our scoring.
Thank you. It's interesting how you guys kind of break that up, man, but I guess I'm doing well. Thank you.
You are. You haven't actually been in the bottom yet. So that's the most impressive thing. Kevin and I agree. That's the most impressive thing so far. And I just hope you avoid the elimination challenge win curse that seems to happen this season, where it's like you win and then the momentum just shuts down. But you avoided that. You avoided that with the canapé. You're still going strong. So thank you so much for joining us, man. Really a delight to talk to you. And hopefully in DC, we'll get to meet up sometime and eat some of your food.
Absolutely. Tom, Kevin, thank you guys so much for having me. It was a lot of fun, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
All right. Kevin, take us out.
All right. For Tom Haberstroh, this is Kevin Ornaments, and this is Pack Your Knives.